Well. You wait ages and ages and ages for one signing, and then two come along at once. Assuming, obviously, you're considering Mamadashvili is a signing this summer, even though technically he's not coming next summer. Either way, point still remains. Liverpool Football Club are on the verge of officially announcing a deal for Federico Chiesa. Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to another video. Yes, it is done and dusted as far as what Liverpool and Liverpool fans are concerned in terms of Federico Chiesa becoming a Liverpool player. We've heard plenty of talk over the past 24 to 48 hours or so regarding Chiesa and obviously how Liverpool are interested. Things are advancing very quickly. Things are on the move very, very quickly there. And then today, it has been confirmed by the likes of Fabrizio Romano and David Ornstein that Liverpool have agreed a fee with Juventus for the Italian winger, and that he is currently on his way to Liverpool, or he's actually in Liverpool right now. Either way, the only thing standing in his way is, of course, a medical and the standard formalities that normally end up tying up the loose ends of a deal. That is all that remains before the official announcement and unveiling of Federico Chiesa as a Liverpool player. Liverpool fans, talk to me. Are you happy about this? Are you unhappy about this? Is this something that you wish would happen sooner? Is this something that you wish didn't happen at all? I want to get your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it on that today. I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling down below in the chat as well. I want to know what you guys are thinking about this transfer saga and situation. But it does seem that Liverpool have finally signed a player, at least for this season, in the form of Federico Chiesa. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. We are going to get into this. Nick Fadley, hey bro, how are you doing? Big up Fletchy says, thank you, my dude. Thank you for coming along and joining us. Would love to know what you're thinking and feeling about this, my bro. But good to see you, and obviously I hope you are doing well, my friend. Federico Chiesa, a guy who I have spoke about very openly in the past few days as a guy I don't want at my football club. Why? Because A, I don't think it's a position that Liverpool needed to build upon. I don't think it's a position that Liverpool needed to dive into too much in the transfer window. And B, because I don't really trust him in terms of his reliability of being fit, 100% healthy, firing on all cylinders. If he is going to be all of those things, then this is a quality move, because he is a very good player. And I don't deny or doubt that he is a very, very good player. But the fact of the matter is, I don't trust this guy to be fit when Liverpool need him most. I don't trust this guy to be reliable when Liverpool necessarily need him most. This is a guy that burst onto the scene 3 or 4 years ago, really did well with Juventus, really did well with Italy, made a big name for himself. And then the unfortunatity of injuries crept in. And yes, it was unfortunate the way that he got his big injuries, and that kind of did a knock-on effect. He picked up other injuries. He was basically playing just under 10 games a season in terms of minutes for the 2 seasons after becoming a European champion with Italy. Last season was his best in terms of games and minutes for the past 2 or 3 years. But I still wouldn't trust him. Come into a new league. Come into a league that is more intense. A league that is more physically demanding. A league that is very tenacious and really takes it out of you. Might just be too much for his legs to handle. Like I say, if we can get a Chiesa that's fit and firing on all cylinders, then for the money that's being talked about, it's an absolute steal. It's an absolute steal, and I'm starting to come around more and more to the idea. But at the same time, I have to question whether he's going to get to that level. I have to question what our direction is as a football club. Why we didn't just go out and buy in. I can name you 3 positions right now that would be in need of more attention and prioritizing. Striker, DM, obviously, that's probably the main one, and a left back. Those are the 3 positions I think that we definitely needed to address more than the wing position. I'm not saying he's not a more natural fit than what we've got in case Salah does get injured, suspended, or whatever the reason is behind Salah's absence or needs a rest or whatever. But at the same time, I feel like we could have got away with putting a Jota there or a Diaz there or even a Nunes there for just a game or two, or an Elliott, for example. Don't necessarily think this is a position that needed to be addressed completely. But there you have it. Chiesa is set to become a Liverpool player in the very, very imminent future in the final couple of days of this transfer window. Nick says that Chiesa is a very good addition for Liverpool. You know what? I agree. A lot of people have been... I put out a couple of videos on Chiesa already, and a lot of people seem to think that I think he's a really bad player. I don't. I don't think he's a really bad player. I think he's a really good player. My issue is that are we going to get that Chiesa that is going to be there for longer periods of the season? He'll be great for the 10 games that you definitely get him for, but we need someone more than that. We, as Liverpool fans, over the past several years, have had players like Naby Keita and Thiago Alcantara really take the mick when it comes to injuries. Really be so unreliable for us that they are never available when we need them most. We've even got players right now that are currently unreliable. As much as I love Diogo Jota and Ibrahim Konate, I don't trust them to be fit for longer than the next 10 games or so of the new season. I expect them to get injured at some point. Injuries are part and parcel, but some obviously have them more frequently than others. I fear this is going to be another one of those signings where when we need him, he's not there. When we don't need him, he's going to be ready to go. But it's all about when we need him most. It's all about when Salah needs a rest. It's all about when Salah needs a break. It's all about when Salah may or may not pick up a minor injury. Hopefully he doesn't. But that is obviously seemingly the case. It was Fabrizio Romano who broke the news. He's been all over this story for the past couple of days. He said, breaking, Federico Chiesa to Liverpool. Here we go. Agreement done for 13 million euros initial fee with add-ons. 4-year contract. Chiesa as new Liverpool player set to fly later on today. Chiesa accepted Liverpool immediately. Deal done. David Ornstein followed up with Liverpool closing in on the agreement with Juventus to sign Federico Chiesa, moving towards 13 million euros. Fee for the 26-year-old. Arrangements made for Italy international to travel to Liverpool once the deal in place. No issue expected on personal terms. 4-year contract. Hopefully he's better than the previous few Italians that we've had. Balotelli, Barini, Alberto Aquilani. Hopefully he doesn't follow the trend of poor Italian players that we've had at this football club. Fingers crossed. Paul Joyce then followed up on all of that with Chiesa now on way to Liverpool for medical. Fee agreed £10 million plus 2.5 million in add-ons. And that's really what it comes down to. Like, don't get me wrong, and everything that I've said, I stand by. But what I've always said as an underlying factor is, if the price is reasonable, it might be worth a gamble. I'm not entirely all for it, and I've got my reservations, and I'm obviously not fully sold on the idea that this guy is going to be the most reliable guy to fall back on. But at the same time, I'd be lying if I said that for £10 million, it's not a bad signing. It's not a bad fee. If the wages are also reasonable as well, then fair enough. Let's go for it. I think Arne Slot could do well in terms of managing his minutes. He's obviously not going to be ahead of Mo Salah in the pecking order, so we can definitely manage his minutes in that aspect. And maybe then it will start to really, really turn my opinion around on him. But it's about the long term. Is he going to be genuinely the Mo Salah replacement? Are we not going to offer Salah a new deal when his contract does expire at the end of the season? And that's just it. Salah goes off to Saudi or wherever he wants to go, because let's face it, it's Mo Salah and he's still firing pretty well and he's still looking extremely good and he's still playing out of his skin and unbelievable. He could go wherever he wants. So is he going to do that? And then Chiesa is going to be the natural replacement for him? I don't know. But it does seem that way. It does seem a little bit that way, that he is going to be the long-term Salah replacement. And that is a little bit where I worry. It's a little bit where I'm not completely sold on this. And I'm worried in general just how everything is looking at Liverpool right now. And that's why I question the direction of the football club. Is this what we're doing again? Meant to be acting like a big club, meant to try and be positioning ourselves to be a big club, to be amongst the elite. And yet we're looking at bargain signings. We're looking at cut price deals for the likes of Chiesa. Because don't get me wrong, Chiesa earlier on in this transfer window would have probably cost Liverpool around about 25 to 35 million pounds. Now we're seemingly getting them for 10 million. Doesn't seem that bad of a deal. But at the same time, I question why we don't go out and get a DM. I question why we don't go out and get a left back. I question why we've had a summer of no activity whatsoever. Our own players coming out and saying we need signings. Our captain saying it. Our manager saying it. Even our starting DM of last season saying that we would only benefit from signing a new defensive midfielder, to then going, you know what, we need to sign a defensive midfielder. Let's go for Zubimendi. Oh, wait, Zubimendi's rejected us. Oh, well, we don't need a DM. We don't need a DM. We've got Gravenberch. We've got Gravenberch who can play DM. We don't need a DM. Actually, we've been overlooking Gravenberch. No. Are you telling me that Zubimendi's been the only one on our short list of DMs this summer? Are you seriously telling me that Zubimendi was the be-all and end-all, the plan A and no plan B of a DM this summer? Extremely short-sightedness from our club. And if we want to act like the big club we are, and people keep telling me, like, there's no good DM on the market. There's no good DM on the market. False. False, 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 false. There are good DMs on the market. You just need to act like a big club, go to them, tempt them to join Liverpool, and then go to their club and slap the money on the table, and they won't, to a point where they don't say no. That is how I see it. That is personally how I see how we should be run in comparison to how we are run. The lack of execution this summer in terms of these deals has been nothing short of laughable, and it's been so frustrating. And it doesn't look like in the next 48 hours or so we are going to get a DM. Things can obviously move extremely quickly, like they have on this Chiesa stuff, but it doesn't seem like we're going to be purchasing a DM. It doesn't seem like we're going to be getting in anyone to cover the other holes in this squad that we are that we're seemingly lacking in terms of depth and quality of. It's been a missed opportunity this summer. It really, really has. And for those that are telling me again that Gravenberch has played very well in the past couple of games, yes, I've said he has. I know he has. I know he's played very well, and he's actually done better than my expectation of him. But I also caveat that with the fact that he's been playing against Ipswich. He's been playing against Brentford. Two teams that we could stick Alisson Becker in the DM position, and we still should be winning those games. So when we turn up to the Etihad, when we turn up to the Emirates, when we go away to these big teams in the Champions League, Gravenberch may be able to do a job there, and I hope and I pray that he does. I hope and I pray that he proves me wrong, and that maybe DM is his position. But I'm not convinced. I'm not entirely convinced by that. So I do worry. I do worry about that. I genuinely do. And I think for the short term, we're doing okay. But I see bigger problems on the horizon in the long term. And the bigger problems are caused not by the manager, not by the squad, but by Richard Hughes, Michael Edwards, and whoever else is in charge of our transfer negotiations and recruitment and things of that nature, because they haven't done enough this summer. And again, I feel like it's a missed opportunity. When I see Arsenal going out there and buying Mikel Merino and buying Calafiori, strengthening their defensive midfield. There is talk that they will get a winger or they will get a striker or maybe even both in the next 48 hours or so. And if they do, that is amazing and incredible for Arsenal. But if they don't, that's a missed opportunity for Liverpool, who really could have gone out, splashed some cash and closed the gap on Arsenal. I see City buying Savio, who looks like a very, very good player. I see City bringing back Ilkay Gundogan, which is insane for them. It's intense. It's incredible for them. But again, them losing Alvarez, Oscar Bob to injury. I see it as a missed opportunity for us to close the gap on them in a position in which our team was so close to obviously going the full throttle throughout the entire course of the season last campaign and going on for a full title challenge and maybe even winning it if we'd obviously held our nerve towards the end of the season. But we didn't. And I think we just needed them tweaks and we just needed to go a bit more aggressive in the transfer window. When a bit more aggressive in that, maybe we could have gone on and maybe we could be talked about as being a top contender rather than just a guy who's going to be on the outskirts of a title chase, but someone who's going to fully secure top four. That's just the way I see it. Chiesa is no Salah. He offers something a bit different, but no one replaces Salah. Absolutely. You cannot replace the goals and the goal contributions that Salah produces. You're going to have to spread them out and proper money ball it across the team. I understand where you're coming from with that. And when he does leave, oh, Jesus, I don't think I'm ready for that. And I wasn't ready for Klopp. I'm definitely not going to be ready for Salah. So, yeah, there you have it. W stream from Nunes fan. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Hope you are well, my dude. Welcome along to the stream, to the channel. Would love to know what you're thinking. And I see you're a Nunes fan. Have you seen, just a little bit off topic, I wasn't really going to talk about it because I don't think I'm going to give it much here, but there's rumours today suggesting that Arsenal could be looking for a late move for Darwin Nunes, which I find incredible. I don't think it will come off, but imagine if it does. That would be insane. I haven't really given it much thought. I haven't really looked into it other than the headline, to be fair. But I just saw that kind of catch my eye today. And yeah, I highly doubt anything's going to come about of it. But it did for a split second intrigue me. But that was like earlier on in the summer when apparently Luis Diaz had agreed to join Man City. I was like, what? Surely Guardiola's not given the green light on that. But as it turned out, false rumours. So there you have it. I want to open up the floor to you guys, though. What do you guys think about this? Because, like I say, I'm intrigued by Chiesa, but it may not necessarily be for all the right reasons. I don't know. I really don't know. I'm not convinced by the guy. I think maybe his injuries have really stopped his growth and progression. And I just think that maybe we are just signing someone because no one else wanted him. And I feel like it's a bit of a panic signing. It does reek of... Remember when we signed Jadon Shaqiri? It does reek of that, where we just needed to buy a guy who... And I like Jadon Shaqiri. I'm not going to lie. I really did like Jadon Shaqiri. And I think we should have gone in for him sooner. But it just felt like a guy that we needed to bring in for experience, winning mentality. He's at a decent age where, he's in his prime, so to speak. He's got a bit of experience behind him, leadership behind him, all that kind of stuff. He's got a know-how of winning things, got a tremendous ability and quality, good caliber of player. Not necessarily the most reliable again, but it just does reek of that kind of Jadon Shaqiri type signing. I just thought that was interesting to draw a couple of parallels between them two signings. So, yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I'm not entirely convinced. I mean, if we get him in now, if we were to get him in now and then him score the winning goal on Sunday, I'll love him. I absolutely love him forever. Like, and I'll take back everything that I said and be like, you know what? Chiesa's a god. Chiesa is amazing. Like, he comes on 94th minute winner against Manchester United, just cuts in from the right hand side and just curls a left footer right into the top corner. Like, I love the guy. I really would love the guy completely. But no, I like the guy's talent. I like the guy's ability. I like the guy's quality. I'm just not entirely convinced by his reliability, unfortunately. It's his reliability that I'm a little bit unsure of going forward. And it's not necessarily his fault. He's picked up a few bad injuries. He's had a couple of he's had a couple of really unfortunate injuries occur to him and all of that kind of stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it. Completely, in all honesty. I guess only time will tell. I'm interested to see how his link-up play is. I'm interested to see if he has lost that kind of yard of pace. I'm interested to see how he takes the Premier League. It's going to be a lot more physical. It's going to be a lot more demanding than what Serie A is. So it's going to be interesting to see how he adapts. It's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to Arne Slot's system. Like I said, I'm not fully against this. Not fully. But at the same time, I'm leaning more that way. I'm leaning more that way due to the things that I've already talked about in this video. But yeah, it is what it is. And like I say, for Liverpool fans, some of them are celebrating, some of them are really happy, and I think it's just mainly because we've been starved of signings all summer. I think we've been starved of something. So anything shiny and anything new, we're going to simply jump on. But I think there has to be a bit more of scratching the surface of this transfer than what some are giving it. I think we have to look at, like I say, the bigger picture, the direction of the football club, why our club didn't decide to go for a DM after Zubimendi is questionable, why our club did not go for a left back, despite the fact that they've seemingly been chasing that Aït-Nouri from Wolves all summer. I don't know. There were other areas of the team that needed beefing up, that needed improving or upgrading on, and yet we've gone for a position, in my opinion, which doesn't need necessarily upgrading as of right now. It's not a top priority for me. This kind of position is not, or shouldn't be seen as a top priority. Neither was the goalkeeping situation, and yet we've walked out of this transfer window with two players that one is a massive risk, and the other one isn't going to be our first choice goalkeeper for at the very least one more season, maybe 2 seasons, depending on the futures of the likes of Alisson Becker and Keeman Kelleher. I don't know. The club it's just been a very weird transfer window that has got even weirder towards the end of it. I understand from a level of excitement and a level, I mean, Liverpool don't normally do these kinds of deals very late on in transfer windows. So I get from a point of view of that it is somewhat exciting, but yeah, it's not fully what I expected. It's not fully what I anticipated. And you know what the weird thing is as well? If we had got a DM, if we had got a left back, I'd be looking at the Mamardashvili and Chiesa deals a little differently, I'll admit. Because I'd be like, okay, well, we've plugged up 2 of the major holes that we can get. And we've also beefed up our attacking line with a player who is not exactly the most reliable, but if we manage his minutes well, and for the price that we've paid for him is seemingly decent enough that we can it's worth taking the gamble on, I'd be looking at it a little different. I guess I'm just still annoyed at the fact that we didn't address the positions that needed to fully be addressed. And we, in fact, prioritized on positions that are not necessarily in need of addressing for the here and now. It's weird how things change depending on that kind of stuff, but the fact of the matter is we can't make excuses. If we start dropping off at certain points in the season, the club can't suddenly turn around and be like, well, it's because we didn't have this player and that player and this player. You had a whole summer to get it done. Man United have just completed the signing of Manuel Ugarte. I mentioned this yesterday. Like, you're telling me Ugarte couldn't have done a good job for Liverpool, a player of that caliber, a player with his traits and skill set, and Arsenal? I think he could. I think he could have done a job for us. But we didn't decide to go in for him. We didn't decide to go in for anybody else. Zubimendi was our plan A, and our plan A never even considered the fact that we needed a plan B. Until next summer, where apparently we will magically discover someone else who can do as good a job or even better job that we judge than a Zubimendi. Who'd have thought? Players out there that are different, as good as, maybe better suited than the Zubimendi. Who would have thought it? Who would have thought it? Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if you're new. Both things are always and forever be greatly appreciated. Let's say I'm just a bit confused by this. Just very confused by the way that our approach has been this summer. Very much so. I don't get it. I don't get it. Is this a panic signing to you guys? Is this a panic signing for you guys, or are you excited by this? I'm very much intrigued to know what you guys are thinking and feeling. Like, I get the somewhat hype. Been a while since we've obviously signed someone, so I get that kind of stuff. But I'm just wondering, how are you reacting to this? How are you reacting to the news that Liverpool are on the verge of completing their first real signing of the summer? Like, I don't know whether to count Mamanashvili or not. Don't think I am really, because he's not really impacting the team for the here and now. He's for later on down the line, which again I don't mind. I don't mind the plan that we have for him, and obviously the how we've explained the plan to Allison as well. Like, I get it, I understand it. I'm just not entirely sold on it. In all honesty, not entirely sold on this. In all honesty, but we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see, obviously, how this plays. We'll wait and see, obviously, how Chiesa fits in. Yeah, I say I'm praying that he does better than our other Italian signings over the years. Aquilani, Balotelli, Barini. Am I missing any more? Maybe there's another one in there at some point. But Liverpool and Italian signings don't necessarily go hand in hand. Dosena, although Dosena did actually score a very, very nice goal against Manchester United, so I let him off with that one a little bit, but yeah. Don't necessarily think there's any more, is there? Didn't we have a goalkeeper at one point? I feel like we had a goalkeeper at one point. It was Italian, but Liverpool and the second choice goalkeepers over there in recent years have never actually gone hand in hand either. Oh, it's going to annoy me now thinking about the guy's name, but yeah, I can't think. That's going to annoy me. That is actually going to annoy me. But like I say, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Engaged by some of the opinions online. There are certainly a few people that are mixed about this. There are some people that are more happy though than the others. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. What's it about? Oh, Nunes has found out. Darwin Nunes handed a 5-match ban and a $20,000 fine for his involvement in clashes that followed Uruguay's Copa America defeat to Colombia in July. The ban will only count for international competitions. So he's not going to be banned for Liverpool, but Nunes has handed a 5-match ban from Uruguay for the clashes in the stands that followed their game in the Copa America, which I get it. I understand the whole violent thing. We're against it or whatever. But at the same time, the guy's protecting his family. Like, anybody in that situation would have done the same. And I think even Nunes said like he was prepared to accept the consequences anyway. So it's understandable. I get it. It's a horrible situation to be in. The security in that tournament was seemingly very much lacking in terms of safety. So fair play to Nunes for getting involved, and fair play for him for accepting whatever consequences came his way, because I can guarantee you anybody in his situation probably would have done the same. So, you know what? Fair. I guess it's fair. I guess it is fair. Just trying to go through some comments online about Chiesa and whether or not fans are happy about this. I feel like some certain ones seemingly a little bit on the fence, and especially from the kind of circles that I'm in. I've got Romano talking about it. Romano, Joyce, Ornstein. I do like the clip where he says that he preferred Gerrard out of Lampard and Scholes, though. That was quality. That was absolutely quality. Yeah, 25 million for Mamardashvili, 10 million for Chiesa, and we've sold Carvalho, Clark, and Vandenberg for 60 million. Like, great. Gold medal. I think there's just a lot of people are seemingly just happy about the price tag, which I 100% understand and 100% I don't disagree with whatsoever. And of course, I think the knock-on effect or the domino effect that this transfer will have is that Chiesa now opens the doorway for Juventus to go after Jadon Sancho. So you're welcome, United fans. We've probably just given you a massive sort of play to get Sancho off your hands. So you're welcome. Even Goldberg says, shame it's to Liverpool, but interested to see how Chiesa does in the Prem. Definitely Italy's most exciting talent when he's on it. I agree. He is exciting to watch. He is exciting to see. But again, is he going to be fit and firing? That's the question. Potential to be a massive bargain. It's a different knock when Liverpool come calling. God, I think he's already forgot about the Zubimendi stuff and what happened last season and the season before that. Yeah, from the overall gauge of everybody, it does seem that that everybody's happy about the price tag. Everybody is seemingly happy about the price tag. Terrence Tibbs, hey dude, how you doing? Welcome along to the stream. Would love to know. I hope you're doing well, my dude. This is like the Aquilani signing all over again. Least said about him, the better. Although I have mentioned him a couple of times already, but I understand where you're coming from in terms of it does represent a big gamble. Liverpool never learn. Maybe pure comedy. I'm assuming you're gauging from that a Man United fan, maybe. I guess maybe seem that way. Hey dude, how you doing? Hope you are well. Why would Man United send Sancho to Juventus when they won't even cover his full salary and get him on a permanent deal? Wouldn't United just want Sancho to go to Chelsea? If there's a deal to be made in which United can obviously get someone from Chelsea, then of course there is a deal to be made. A lot has obviously been made about Raheem Sterling. Apparently, United are in talks with Ben Chilwell as well. So there could be a play there for United to use Sancho as a bit of counterweight for a part exchange deal, which is always possible. But yeah, I guess it does leave the doorway open. We know that obviously Juventus hold a lot of interest in Sancho. It depends on whether or not a deal can be struck, whether or not the financial part of the deal is going to be available to both. We'll see. We'll see if that obviously does happen. But I guess for United's point of view, going to Chelsea might be more beneficial depending on who they may want to sign in the remaining couple of days of the transfer window. We'll see. Zayn, hey dude, how you doing? Hope you are well, my friend. Welcome along to the stream. Says Chiesa is a very good deal aside from the window is still a 2 or 3 out of 10 because the priority positions still have not been addressed. Absolutely could not agree with you more, dude. As much as I think it is a bargain, as much as I hope that we are going to be getting a Federico Chiesa that is going to be firing on all cylinders and is going to be actually fit and reliable, I don't necessarily see that happening completely. And I think that we are pushing back our priorities back another year or two. And when we come to that year down the line, when we come to next summer, there's going to be even more holes that need to be filled. We've still got the contract situations of the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold to address. We've still got Mo Salah's and Virgil van Dijk's contracts that need to be addressed. So there's a lot there for this Liverpool board and this Liverpool side of club as a whole to really address in terms of positions, in terms of personnel on the pitch, and in terms of the players that we already have. I don't want to lose Trent. Like, out of the three of them, Trent's the one that worries me because he's obviously younger. Everyone seems to think him being Scouse is going to be enough to keep him at Liverpool. I'm sorry, but when Real Madrid come knocking, it's a whole different ballgame at that point. Trent may stay, and I'd be hoping and praying that he does. But at the same time, we need to move quickly. We need to move quickly on Trent, on Salah, on Van Dijk, because these players are still for the here and now. They're not necessarily for several years down the line in the future. Trent, you could argue maybe, but Trent may see his present and future at Real Madrid, and that is a scary, scary, scary thought. Chiesa, I've already done that one. Regardless of transfer fee or wages, who do you think overall, just in terms of talent, is better than Chiesa, Sancho, or Sterling? Chiesa's definitely got more talent and ability, but I think Sancho may have more overall output than Sterling. I think Sterling's a little bit inconsistent at times. And in terms of also creativity, Sancho definitely is better in that aspect than Sterling. But at the same time, I just don't think he fits in with Ten Hag's plans. And I don't necessarily think, and on the other, well, and I know for a fact that Sterling does not fit in with the plans of Enzo Maresca. So, yeah, it is what it is in terms of that aspect, really. Andy Robertson isn't getting any younger and will need to be replaced at some point. Absolutely. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Liverpool was seemingly interested in Ait Nouri earlier on this summer. And that would have been a fantastic signing, in my opinion. Not necessarily defensively, but a guy who can obviously play the Arne Slot system. I think he would have fit in perfectly in terms of that aspect. But again, we just haven't signed anyone in terms of that. So yeah, we shall see. Guys, just quickly, 14 people in the chat, by the way. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. Both things always and for be greatly appreciated. Really appreciate you all coming along, taking time out to watch. So thank you for that. And I really appreciate you obviously getting involved in the chat. A lot of things to say about this Federico Chiesa deal. Two other Scousers left Real Madrid, Michael Owen, who won a Ballon d'Or, and Steve McManaman. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We know that the Scouse effect does not necessarily hold as much weight as as we think, or maybe people think it should do. But yeah, absolutely. There is that kind of side of things too. Like I say, when Real Madrid come knocking, we know the pull that they have. Mohammed, hey dude, how you doing? Hope you're well. Says Liverpool, please sign. Sign Chiesa or sign just anybody? Would love more clarification on that, bro. But thank you for getting involved. Sterling is like 30 years old already. Ability-wise, Chiesa is the best of the three. I know Sterling's been around for a while. Is Sterling 30? Is he 30? Oh, he's 20. Oh, he actually is. He's 29, but he'll be 30 turning in December. I thought he was still like 28. I know he's been around for a while, but I still thought he was late 20s. But yeah, I agree. Chiesa is the best of the three. So I was mainly doing it from a Sancho Sterling point of view. Chiesa is the best out of three in terms of ability. Sancho, I think, has got a lot more output in terms of creativity and things like that. But Sterling obviously has experience and know-how of winning things, and Sancho doesn't necessarily have that. So they're both good in different areas. Sterling definitely has, like I say, he's great on the wing, got good link-up play at times, and obviously has that sixth sense about him to drift in at the far post and get on the end of crosses to tap in. As well as obviously having a winning mentality. He knows how to win things, got a knowledge, got an experience. There's a leadership value and quality there. Sancho doesn't necessarily have that, but at the same time, quite versatile, can play off either wing. The right side obviously is more favourable to him. He's more creative. I don't think he's quite got the pace of a natural kind of winger like that, but at the same time, he's not necessarily slow either. Yeah, it's an interesting debate, that one. It's going to be interesting to see if that kind of swap deal does get pulled off by both of those two teams. A lot can definitely happen in the final couple of days of the transfer window, and we're waiting to see if anything like that was to miraculously turn up. Why do you think Liverpool didn't face much competition from other teams to sign Chiesa? I mean, that's something as well. That's something a lot of clubs and fans use as a sort of measuring stick to judge how good a player is. So sometimes. A few years ago, Chiesa was seen as like the next big thing, wasn't he, to come out of Italy? He was seen as like this next big thing to come out of Italy and obviously Serie A, and a lot of people were praising him and giving him this sort of talk that he might be the next big thing and all of that stuff. And then, of course, his injuries occurred. And I think a lot of people were put off by those injuries. I think a lot of people were somewhat put off by the fact that maybe he won't return to be how he was before. Maybe he won't become the player that we all thought he would be. And I think there's that element of it. I think as well as that, there might be the price tag that Juventus have always tried to sell him on for has seemingly probably been a bit too high, because I know for a fact, like, there was talk about Chiesa attracting the interest of the likes of Arsenal, for example. Earlier on this campaign, Tottenham was seemingly involved. I think also maybe a year or so ago, it might have been difficult to get him out of Italy. We know how notorious it is for certain players from certain countries to be drawn out of their own country. We saw that with obviously Zubimendi this summer. Certain players just don't want to leave their own country. They don't want to leave their family and friends behind. And maybe that was the case as well. Again, another player to throw at you is Nicola Barella. Liverpool was seemingly interested in Barella, but there is reports out there that seemingly suggest that Barella doesn't want to leave Italy, which is why Liverpool eventually turned into another direction. So, yeah, there's a lot of that. And I think the later that we left it, the more the price went down. And I think we just capitalized on a big opportunity here where everybody else is focused on other players and things. And we've just kind of gone in undetected and just swooped in for a 10 million fee for Chiesa. Either that, or it's a combination of things that I've just talked about in that long-winded, but hopefully somewhat easy to determine and decipher kind of rambling. Hey dude, how you doing, Mr. Footballer Loons? Go and sub to this guy's channel, doing some really good things over there in terms of predictions and things like that. He's definitely coming along very, very well. And obviously, if you don't know this guy, then do go and check his channel. He's Newcastle fan as well. So I want to get what your opinion is on this. Obviously, as an outsider looking in, as a bit of a, could say rival, could say neutral kind of fan on this. Would love to know what you are thinking about this transfer deal as well, my dude. But I hope you are well and hope you are continuing your hard work, my friend. Yeah, like I say, I'm happy about the deal in terms of from a financial perspective. I'm happy about the potential that this deal brings. I'm just not necessarily convinced. I guess that would be the best way to put it. I think that's the word to put it in this kind of context, in this sentence. I'm not convinced by Chiesa yet. We shall see. He was forced out of the squad since the end of the Euros, and price was already between 20 and 10 million because he rejected to renew lower offer wages. It can't be that nobody noticed it. I mean, it depends who you believe and what kind of stories you read, but there was always talk about it being especially this summer. I'm going off this summer. There was talk about it being somewhere in the region of 25 to 35 million euros. I think I talked about him a few times on the transfer speed round short videos that I did. I think Liverpool was said to be interested about a month or so ago in him, along with like Tottenham, for example. And I think the price was just a bit off-putting for a lot of people. Like I say, I think there was talk of 25 million. I definitely do remember that at the very least. A year or so ago, it may have been a bit more. A year or so ago afterwards may have been a bit more. But I just want to check as well. See what the situation is in regards of certain element as well. Let me just have a look. And it also, his contract expires at the end of next year as well. So I think Liverpool have kind of left it very, very late to get a cut price deal in terms of his contract expiring. I think Juventus want to cash in on him whilst they have the opportunity to do so. I don't think Chiesa had any interest in maybe re-signing with Juventus. So Liverpool have, again, answered the door to opportunity, I guess you could say. Juventus wanted to cash in. They managed to get something out of it, better than nothing, I guess you could say. And Liverpool have definitely capitalised on him having 1 year left on his current deal, wanting to move, and Liverpool just capitalised. I think it's the same. And again, to use another example, I think it's the same with Ivan Toney as well. I think a lot of teams a year or so ago would have took Ivan Toney in a heartbeat. And then for some reason, this summer, the Ivan Toney situation has dragged out so much, despite the fact that he's only got a year left on his deal, that I think a lot of teams are started dragging it out because they know that the ball is kind of in their court a little bit. If Brentford do want to cash in on him whilst they have the opportunity to do so, they may have to lower their price tag the later time goes on because they're not going to be convinced that he's going to re-sign a new deal So I get where you're coming from, and just on the whole, just on the whole, he got forced out kind of thing. Again, why did he get forced out though? Why did he get forced out? Is it because of his injuries? Is it because he wasn't exactly the player that they thought he was going to turn into? Is it a mixture of both? Is it because they had other eggs in other baskets? What was entirely the reason? Because I know he wasn't, and I know judged from his minutes that he wasn't exactly set in stone to start at Juventus. I 100% get that. But at the same time, is that just because of his injuries? Is that a managing of his minutes? I'm not going to lie to you. I don't watch Serie A religiously, but I obviously know about this guy from watching a fair few Serie A games and, you know, mainly Champions League nights, Europa League nights, whatever they're kind of in now. But over the years, I have seen a fair amount of Chiesa because obviously Chiesa was meant to become the next big thing to come out of Italy, especially following the European Championships a few years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how this guy develops and everything. But I think for the price that was being talked about, from this kind of thing happening and that kind of thing happening, and obviously from the deal itself, I think Liverpool have just capitalised on Juventus wanting to cash in whilst they had the opportunity to do so. And I think with other people distracted and mainly focused on other players, maybe Liverpool just swooped in a little bit undetected and just managed to just clean up negotiations pretty quickly and execute them pretty well on this occasion. Again, I don't know the full ins and outs, and I don't claim to know, but I can only speculate from the outside looking in. Shafiq, hey dude, how you doing? Welcome along. He says, best player, Chiesa. Is that about the debate of Chiesa, Sancho, Sterling earlier? I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but I do appreciate the comment, bro. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for the kind words and the shout out. My thought, no problem, dude. Anytime. My thoughts on Chiesa is: do Liverpool need Chiesa? Is that the right position Liverpool need to add depth in? As I said in this stream, bro, I don't think it is. I don't necessarily think it is. I understand that he's more of a natural right winger than what Liverpool have as an understudy to Salah. So I get that a little bit, but I don't think it's the position that we need. And I've named about 3 or 4 different positions in this stream alone that I think Liverpool should have prioritized over another goalkeeper that we're going to be planning for the next 1 or 2 years, or a right winger that realistically we should be doing everything in our power to keep Salah on for another year or two, because the guy seems like he's not slowing down anytime soon. The guy seemingly is going from strength to strength, and he started off the season amazingly well. So I agree with you. I agree. Do we really need him? Not necessarily. Is that the right position that Liverpool needed to look to add depth in? I don't think so either. I watch Juventus. It's not because of his performances. It's just from financial point of view. He was not renewing on lower wages. So that's why even Szczesny and McKenna were forced out too. Like I say, he's also got 1 year in his contract as well, dude. You got to look at that as well. Like, I'm not... But at the same time, I feel like a club like Juventus, and again, as we were talking about with Trent earlier, and how, you know, sometimes the Scouse tax is like not going to keep him at Liverpool, depending on where he sees his footballing future lying. You know, if he was the player that Juventus thought he could be, surely they would have done everything in their power to convince him to renew. Surely they would have done everything in his power to get the best out of him and keep what should be one of their best players, right? I don't know. Like I say, I'm not entirely clued up on the whole Juventus thing. I just know Chiesa as a player. I know what he's about, and I don't know. I'm just. It's a tricky one. It is a tricky one. I completely understand and get where you're coming from. I just feel like if he was the guy that everybody thought he would turn into. Why would you force him out? What are we getting here? Are we getting a player that has had a bit of a rough patch, but is a diamond in the rough? Are we getting a player here that is just bang average? And that's why nobody actually wanted him? I don't know. I'm not 100% sure on that one. But it's a good challenge and a good point you do throw. I'm just interested to obviously know what the future holds. I'm interested to know what you guys are thinking about all this as well. And yeah, it's an interesting one. It is. It really, really is. And I gotta say, I 100% get where you're coming from. And I know that obviously a lot has changed at Juventus this summer alone. And then you had that big swap deal with Aston Villa as well, didn't you? With Douglas Luiz going. That was big as well. That was really big as well. Like Douglas Luiz. Talk about going to Arsenal at one point. I wouldn't have minded seeing if obviously Liverpool might have threw their hat into the ring on that one, but didn't necessarily work out. But that's how things go sometimes, I guess. We shall see. We shall see. What are we up to? What are we up to? Oh, cool. That's cool. Yeah. But yes, a lot can happen between now and the end of the transfer. I mean, I know we're only like 48 hours, just over 48 hours, in fact, from the end of this summer transfer window, which has taken a little while to kind of really ignite, but it does finally seem like we are getting somewhere with it. I'm just trying to see if anything is broke while we're live. Nothing as of yet. Again, there's a lot of interest, a lot of talk, but like a lot this summer, it's mainly been a lack of action in comparison to other years. I think there's obviously still a lot of money being thrown around, mainly by Chelsea, who I don't think Chelsea have signed anyone today, have they? I don't think Chelsea have signed anyone today. Breaking, actually, whilst we're on this, from Fabrice Hawkins. Breaking agreement between Manchester United and Juventus for Jadon Sancho, loan and obligation to buy. The player is keen on the move for that. So that's coming from Fabrice Hawkins, who well respected, well known, and is one of the in the know sort of journalists, if you like. So when I said earlier that this opens the door, it seems that Juventus have moved very quickly on a loan and obligation to buy. Does anyone know why teams do that, the loan and obligation to buy, rather than the option? I don't understand why teams would necessarily, I guess for financial reasons, obviously, but it does seem a little strange to me. But yes, that is breaking from Fabrice Hawkins right now, who claims that Jadon Sancho is on his way to Juventus. Talk to me here, people. Is that a good move for Sancho? Is that a good thing for Manchester United as well? And what does that make now of this whole Chelsea-United relationship thing? Is there still a move on the cards for Raheem Sterling? Is the knock-on effect going to be that Manchester United go in for a Raheem Sterling? Is there someone else waiting in the wings? What do you make of this? This is a very huge coming out from Fabrice Hawkins right now and from Manchester United and Juventus. Chiesa goes to Liverpool. Jadon Sancho goes to Juventus. Where is the next domino falling? Where is the next domino falling? Could it be for Raheem Sterling, or is there someone else? Or do United go, you know what? Our business is done. We are done. We don't care. We just want to get rid of players now. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking and feeling on that one. Douglas Luiz deal was done from financial point of view to sell 2 academy players to get pure profit. Luiz hasn't even started in both Serie A games and is benched by Locatelli. Juventus books are cooked. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't watch Serie A religiously. I'll catch the odd game here and there, so I'm not fully clued up on the Italian league as much as I used to be several odd years ago. But I mean, Luiz always struck me as a very good player, though. That's the thing. Luiz always struck me as a very, very good player. And I know that obviously him and his girlfriend were sort of like a couple's deal over there, and it was a little bit weird. But yeah, I mean, Juventus aren't exactly in the best financial position as well, are they? So yeah, that's would be huge for them. Weird seeing Juventus getting Sancho on permanent, who's on 250k a week when they are not offering 6 mil salary to Chiesa. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Like I think that maybe Sancho is a better fit for them. Maybe that's what they're seeing in their eyes, which is why they've not given Chiesa any sort of reason to re-sign or any sort of love to try and keep him on. I don't know what the entire plan is, but you know, they've not. I don't think he's exactly specified. He's not really specified about the situation in terms of financial, in terms of like, are United just going to pay off a little bit of his wages until obviously the end of the year, and then once that obligation to buy kicks in, that's it. United can just forget about it. He's not really gone into details on that. He's just basically said there is a loan with an obligation to buy. We'll wait and see. We'll wait and see on the financials of it when it does eventually come out. But it's big. It could be big, and it could have a massive knock-on effect between now and obviously the end of the transfer window, which I talked about a little earlier, which is now, do United go into the market for a winger, or are they okay with what they've got? I know that obviously Diallo started the season off pretty well. Rashford is still terrible. Garnacho is somewhat hot and cold. He's a bit hit and miss. He's a bit like he'll be really good for one game, and then the next game he'll be quiet. He'll be good for another game. He'll be poor for the next. That kind of thing. So he's still obviously finding his feet there. I don't know. I don't know whether United go in for another winger or not. It'd be interesting to obviously see if that does come about and everything. But you know, Sterling's name's been mentioned. There could be other names that are buzzing around the stratosphere of Manchester United. I say the Juventus situation is interesting enough, and then you add Jadon Sancho to the mix, them getting rid of Chiesa. Maybe they just didn't see, like I say, Chiesa as being that guy. Maybe it's his injuries. Maybe it's his potential. Maybe it's the fact that they just didn't see value in him going beyond next year, and that's why they decided to just cash on him whilst they had the opportunity to do so. Maybe it's just a mismanage by Juventus, which happens to all teams. Maybe it's just a mismanage of the situation. I don't know. I don't know what fully the situation is. But one thing that we do know is that Chiesa's on his way to Liverpool. Jadon Sancho looks like he's on his way to Juventus. And that could leave the door open for Raheem Sterling to leave Chelsea and go to Manchester United, as what has been talked about. The deal is going to be interesting on that one now, because obviously United lose their leverage in having a player that seemingly Chelsea wanted in Sancho. Do Manchester United have another player that maybe they could tempt Chelsea with? Maybe, I don't know, Chelsea are after everyone and anyone. So, you know, and seemingly wingers as well. So maybe they could get Anthony off the books. Who knows? Maybe they would try their luck with getting Anthony to go to Chelsea, which would be hilarious if that was to be the case. But no, we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see what happens with Chelsea. We'll wait and see what happens with with all of that as well, I'm just going to just change the title of this. I would if it would let me. Top quality content right now, guys. Top quality content while I figure out how to do things. How do I do things? I'll get there in the end. I always do. In the end. There we go. There we go. Sorted. Sorted. So yeah, it's big. It's mad. It's it's the end of the transfer window. What do you expect? But Juventus wasted very little time, and of course they're going to waste very little time. The transfer window is shutting in a couple of days in replacing Federico Chiesa with Jadon Sancho of Manchester United. Yeah, it's a big move for both of these players. Big move for both of these players. I think on just speaking about Sancho, I think it's going to be big for Sancho. It's going to be big for Sancho. We saw the difference in terms of his personality, in terms of his emotion, when he was at Dortmund towards the end of last season. We saw how different a player he looked from the Sancho that was at Manchester United to the Sancho that was obviously back in Borussia Dortmund, back in familiar territory, back in familiar colours. And he was enjoying it. He was enjoying life. And obviously, if, you know, in another timeline, in another dimension somewhere, maybe he even does come out of that season with a Champions League trophy and medal to his name. So yeah, it's massive. It's massive on their part, but yeah, it's big, and it's also good for Man United as well. Like, this is a player who, even though they claim like him and Ten Hag buried the hatchet, there's water under the bridge between them two of what happened last season. United was still open to letting him go. United was still very much open to letting him go and moving on. And I understand why. It's just simply it didn't work out. And I don't think he's part of Ten Hag's plans. Don't think he really fit in with the Ten Hag system. I don't really think they found a position for him to really play. Inverted wingers, he doesn't really perform amazing off the left. He's more of a more natural winger off the right. And not only that as well, but I feel like he never really, as much as I say that he didn't necessarily fit in and all that stuff, I don't think he ever really had a proper striker to link up with. During like his best times at Borussia Dortmund, he was linking up with Haaland. He was linking up beautifully with Erling Haaland. He never really had not just a Haaland type figure, but a real kind of striker type figure at all during his United career. And then when they did last season with Højlund, he obviously had his issues with the manager, and that's why he wasn't really playing that often. I think going back to Juventus, well, not going back to Juventus, but I think going to Juventus, I think going to a different league, a slower league, with all due respect, might actually do him the world of good. I think it would do him the world of good to get back out there and to learn a new culture, be in a different background, try and reignite his career without the kind of fanfare of Manchester United and the kind of money they paid for him, not just in terms of wages as well, but in terms of the fact that the fee as well hanging over his head. Go to Juventus, redeem yourself, reinvent yourself, and see if you can obviously get back to where you used to be. What made you a well-respected and well thought of, wanted commodity player within the game. Like, that could be really, really good for Sancho overall. I feel like that could be extremely good for Jadon Sancho to go out there and to try and achieve. And good luck to him on that. Even from a rival fan, I hope that Juventus treat him better. I hope that he gets better, or he gets better service. He is able to express himself. And fingers crossed it works out for him. Fingers crossed it does. And then who knows, maybe this might benefit the England national setup in however long it takes time for him to redeem himself. Maybe he does get back into that kind of discussion. Who knows? Who knows what might happen there? Who knows what may happen in regards to Jadon Sancho going back to... Well, I keep saying going back like he's been there before. Going to Juventus. Don't understand why. Don't understand why that is being said. But yeah, incredible stuff to come out of today. Federico Chiesa to Liverpool is a go. That is set to be announced as soon as probably his medical is actually done and dusted and they've tied up all the loose ends. Like, that is going to be an incredible deal to say the least. And Jadon Sancho to Juventus also seems like it is a done deal, according to Fabrice Hawkins, who claims that they've agreed a loan deal with an obligation to buy. So, United fans, let me know what you're thinking on that one. Getting rid of Jadon Sancho. Let me know what you think the future may hold for the final couple of days, at the very least, of this transfer window. And of course, if there's any Juventus fans in the house, let me know what you think. Sancho going to be a worthwhile addition to your squad? Is this going to be a good thing for you guys? I want to know. I want to know all of your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it. Because, of course, throughout the entire course of this live stream, you have heard from this guy. And now it's your turn to tell me. I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. Main thing is Federico Chiesa to Liverpool is done and dusted. We're just waiting for the official unveiling and the announcement. And Jadon Sancho looks like he's going to be off to Juventus as Chiesa's replacement. Thanks, everyone, so much for watching and listening. Hit the like button on the way out if you haven't already, or subscribe if you are new. Both things are always and probably greatly appreciated. Really enjoyed this stream tonight, and thank you to every single one of you that's contributed as well. Got a fair few contributions in as well. Really been a very interesting and exciting discussion as well from all of you, throwing up some interesting challenges and giving your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings. So keep them coming in on this as well. Lovely to hear from each and every single one of you. Thank you for taking your time out to come and hear this kind of ramble and this kind of talk. Love that from each and every single one of you. Would be happy if Chiesa is the only bit of business for Liverpool. Would I be happy? Sorry. No. We left it so late. I really wanted a DM. We should have got a DM. We should have got a number 6. It is a horrible missed opportunity for Liverpool. But yeah, it is what it is. Like, It's horrible, and it's only going to get worse for people like Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes if obviously we don't pull a rabbit out of the hat and we don't sign a DM in the next 48 hours. And I'm not saying we should sign everybody or anybody, sorry. We shouldn't just sign the first random player that simply turns up on a Google search history or whatever. We need to go for a proper DM. But it doesn't look like that's going to happen until at the very least January. And even then, I still suspect that we will get the typical sort of January spiel of the right player wasn't available in January. So now we're going to go to the summer where he'll have a war chest of 400 million to spend, in which that will suddenly disappear to just 4 million, depending on player sales. Like, where the hell did that go? But yeah, we shall see how it goes. We shall see how it goes. There's a lot more to come, and it may not exactly be the most positive, but yeah, Chiesa to Liverpool. I'm intrigued. I'm interested, but I'm not holding out much weight that this is going to be the most reliable signing that Liverpool Football Club ever make. So I hope to be wrong. I hope to be proven wrong, but we shall see on that one. And as far as obviously the domino effect goes, Jadon Sancho to Juventus. And obviously we shall see what Man United do in retaliation to that. Do they go for a new player? Do they not? Either way, interesting stuff lies ahead. Enjoy the discussion. Have a nice rest of your day. Same to you, bro. Same to you, my dude. Lovely to hear from you, and I hope you are doing very well. Once again, guys, check out this guy's channel. He's doing a lot of good stuff right now over there, as well as obviously he's got a few decent predictions in week out for all the Premier League game weeks. So really do check this guy out. Very interesting stuff happening over on his channel. And there you have it. Like I say, these are your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys are thinking and feeling. Continue with your comments. Continue with your thoughts, your comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you call it, in the comment section. Sure, it'll make for great and interesting reading. Otherwise, hit the like button already if you haven't. Or if you haven't, subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things are always and forever greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening, and of course taking part. It's been a great discussion. It's been a great debate. Some really good challenges in there. Thank you to each and every single one of you that participated and took your time out to come and watch me. Can't thank you enough, guys. Really, really, really do appreciate it, and I've really, really enjoyed this particular stream. I've been Fletch. This has been another Fletch stream video, live streamy thingy, jiggy, whatever the hell this is. Fletch live stream, Fletch stream, whatever you want to call it. Thanks everyone again. Really do appreciate it, guys. But until next time, I've been Fletch. This has been this. I've really enjoyed it, and I'll see and speak to you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your day. Speak to you all again very, very soon.